our next race that we're going to look at is the United States 10th District Congressional race. And the first candidate on our list is Candace Miller. Is there a representative from her here today? Okay, we've asked and we haven't gotten any response. So the next candidate is Candace, another Candace, Candace Caveny, representing the Green Party.
Thanks. Of course, I prefer to think of myself as the Candace.
Right.
I knew that there were two Candaces on the ballot last time, and I think there must have been some kind of confusion because I didn't win. But I did try my best. I think you all know that the 10th Congressional District is most of the thumb. It's Huron County down to Macomb, including St. Clair, Sanilac, and just since 2002, after the Y2K census, Lapeer County was added in there. So it's been unusual to have a candidate from Lapeer because we're the Johnny-come-lately, you know, the new guys on the block. However, the Green Party is new itself, so here I am. I very much enjoyed running last time. One of the major reasons, of course, that I did run was the war in Iraq. Our party is steadfastly against that war. I spent a lot of time studying the opinions of Scott Ritter, who was actually known to be from a Republican background. He was on the investigation group that looked for weapons of mass destruction and kept urging caution, wait, there aren't any. But anyway, I'm very glad to be invited to the table here. And a recent vice presidential candidate visited St. Clair County, and he said it's great to be invited to the table so long as it's not on the menu. So maybe the other Candace has a reason. I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. Well, anyway, I'm very pleased to be here. I lived 33 years in Michigan. I've lived 20 in Lapeer County. Come to Port Huron a number of times. I know something about your situation with regard to water concerns, pollution, etc. Of course, those are right up the alley of the Green Party. I currently live in a little cluster of 7 houses, which is near a crossroads that has a bank and a gas station and a branch library a few days a week and a convenience store and so forth. However, out of those 7 houses, 2 of them have been vacant for more than a year. Now, believe me, this is not the fault of those 2 people, the 2 households. The first family moved in and didn't realize that the septic field was going to fail within a year. And they didn't realize that we were starting a sewer project. And they would be obligated to pay either the $20,000 straight out, get a home equity loan, of course they had no home equity, or go on the additional, fee every month, but the sewer still isn't available to us. So that house has been empty a year. It was a GMAC repossession. It's now been put on auction somehow to a young man that's marketing. The other house, the husband was working in construction for Pulte Homes, big home builder all over the nation. And of course, downturn in the construction industry. He was let go, but he was able to get on almost immediately in North Carolina. So his wife, a school teacher, was also able to move with him, fortunately, and get a teaching position there. There was a lot of predatory lending. Let's be frank. In California, real estate values keep going up, 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 unless there's an earthquake. So if you sell a house to somebody and you collect for a few years, but you have something like an arm where it's going to expand suddenly, the seller, the mortgager, can actually resell the house. They've kept the money in the meantime, and they can sell it for a higher price. I mean, this is where you keep skimming off the game, and we get it. My daughter is a law school graduate. She repaid her law school loan. She works for the federal government. She works in international law, international trade treaties at the Department of Agriculture. And she was going to consider buying a condo. She called me and said, "Mother, what's a no-interest loan?" I said, "Honey, a no-interest loan is for somebody that expects to, get an inheritance within a year. They're just waiting for the paperwork to be straightened out." It's not anything you want to know. You go and get a real estate attorney. You're an attorney, but you're not the right kind for this question. I'm very happy that when we bought our home 20 years ago, our credit union, which was the UAW, Security Federal, had just become qualified, or just qualified itself, or whatever, to grant mortgages. And so the process was rather slow. They explained to us, you know, we're just new at this, we're trying to find out how to do this. But they did tell us they would never, ever sell our mortgage. And that has, you know, been so crucial, this reselling and reselling of mortgages. And I'm so glad the union protected us, the credit union protected us. These are major issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. Our next candidate is Robert Dennison, who is representing the Democratic Party as the nominee for the 10th District.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to see all you people here. I'm running for Congress because this nation is going in the wrong direction. 7 years and 9 months of George Bush has been too much for this nation to handle. Candace Miller supports George Bush 90+% of the time, more than McCain has supported George Bush. Candace talks about a war that's costing us $12.5 billion a month, with no end in sight, and it's a civil war. I want to today talk a little bit about the economy. 10,000 people a day are losing their homes. You hear anybody in an uproar about that? Well, when the banks quiver, what does Congress do? They jump through hoops to make sure that the banks, the insurance companies, and the mortgage companies aren't going to suffer. People with preferred stock are not going to suffer. Ordinary working men and women are going to suffer. When you talk about people who are unemployed, they say the figure is 8.8% unemployment in the state. That doesn't count the people that are no longer getting unemployment. Unemployment is a safety net for working men and women. We know that. I spent 34 years of my life working with the UAW, representing working men and women. And we have a safety net for our people, but it's fading fast because our jobs are going overseas. This government is fostering jobs to go overseas. It's a shame. I'd like to read you a little quote from a lady who did her best to get George Bush elected not once, but twice. Candace Miller co-chaired George Bush's presidency twice. And this is a quote from the New York Times, September 27th, 2003. The writer was Cheryl Stolberg. Mrs. Miller, who describes herself as a George Bush Republican, said, "I was one of the first birds off the wire for Bush. I just saw in him the intangible quality of leadership." Then she went on to say, "I had no personal agenda other than to get Bush elected and felt by campaigning for Bush, I could have an impact almost on the world." She's had one hell of an impact on the world, and so has George Bush. It's time to take the nation back. It's time to take this nation back to the middle class, the working men and women of this nation. Please let's do the right thing. Let's think about our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. We are saddling our kids with debt that is unbearable. My mom and dad wanted to leave me a better world, and they did, and their parents left them a better world, and their parents left them a better world, and we won't be able to say the same thing to our kids. We won't be able to look your children in the eye and say we did what was right for you. We need to change the leadership of this nation. From the top of the ticket, we got to vote for Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And we have to work all the way down the state. We have to get Mr. Espinoza elected, Mr. Brown elected, Bill Marquardt elected. So what's our lady's name?